Hi everybody, welcome to our first interactive advanced presentation in Chemistry 2. Today we're going to be looking at the process called osmosis. And we are going to be doing that by using two types of solutions and then some gummy bears. So I know for me, sometimes when you think of science experiments, it can definitely be a daunting task. Filled with a lot of mathematical equations as well as just dangerous chemical reactions. And a lot of times you don't always get the result that you want in your experiment. But however, today we are going to be combining two worlds, in my opinion, and we're going to be using science and some sugar to observe osmosis, which is the process when water moves from a higher concentration of water to a lower concentration. And it is pretty mind-boggling in my opinion. So the couple things that you will need for this experiment is gummy bears. These you can just find at your local grocery store, and you will not be using all of them, so you have a little snack while you're doing your experiment. You will be needing two separate containers. One container is going to be filled with just tap water, and then the second container will be filled with saturated salt water solution. So make sure that you label those correctly to know which one is which. The steps to perform this experiment is you will again select two gummy bears. It does not matter what color. In my experiment, I used the white gummy bear and then a green gummy bear. You will then be sure you label the two glasses with what the content is. So my one I labeled as just water solution, and then my second one I labeled as salt water solution. You will then fill this glass. Of course, one will be half a cup of plain water, and then the second one is going to be half a cup of water with a tablespoon of salt. Be sure that you mix the salt until it's completely dissolved before you add the gummy bear into the mixture. So this experiment does take some time. It takes about 6 to 10 hours to see the full result. And so, yeah, after that, you'll observe what happens, and then I will be talking a little bit about what I observed and what I experienced. So let's talk a little bit about what is happening to the gummy bears when we add them to the solution. Why do they grow instead of dissolve like most sugar candies? The answer for that is gelatin. So as we know, gummy bears is made up of several compounds called such as your sugar, things like that. But one of the main things it is made up of or composed of is gelatin. This is the same ingredient that you also find in Jell-O. But what it is once the water and the gelatin have cooled, the water in the gummy bears is drawn out, which leaves behind delicious solid candy bear. So gelatin, again, let's go a little bit in depth, is a chain-like molecule that basically twists in order to create a solid form. So when a gummy bear is placed in a glass of water, it becomes a solute. This solute will then is a dissolved material in the solution. So the water is the solvent, which as we know, and since the gummy bear does not contain water, when it is added to a glass of water, the water will actually go into the process of osmosis and will move into the gummy bear in order to expand and make the gummy bear bigger. This is what you should notice in your cup 1 solution, which is just your normal tap water solution. Something that is also really cool about gelatin is it basically creates a cage that will keep the gummy bear in shape. So throughout this experiment, you will notice that the gummy bear does not lose its shape. The only thing that happens, it will actually just grow. So it will not dissolve like most candies do. So now let's look at our second solution. So as we know, salt is much smaller than the molecule of gelatin. And so there are more salt molecules in the water mixture than there are in the gummy bear. So the water molecules will then move towards the salt molecules to even out the number of water and salt molecules in the solution. So basically, it will try and create an equilibrium between the gummy bear and then, of course, the external salt water that this gummy bear is in. And so that is why the gummy bear in the salt water will actually not grow much at all, and sometimes it will even decrease in size. So because of that equilibrium, like I mentioned above, it should either remain its shape or get smaller. Of course, this is just dependent on the amount of salt that you add. And so if you want to do a second experiment, you can add more salt and see if it actually does shrink. So that is a little bit about the background of the experiment. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I noticed. I did notice that the gummy bear and just the normal tap water did increase in size. After doing some research, I did notice that some websites do mention that it should increase about 2 to 3 times its size. For me, mine didn't increase that much, and it could be because I did not leave them in the solution long enough in order for that to happen. So this water solution should increase, and I'll show you mine. So this was my normal solution with my gummy bear. It did definitely get bigger. Let me see if I can get it out. Sorry, it's a little silky. Oh, I cannot get it. Come on. So, okay, I can't seem to show you guys, but it did get bigger compared to just an average gummy bear. And then in contrast, the gummy bear in my saltwater solution, which is right here, as you can see, it's right there. I did notice that this one did not increase at all. It looked pretty, this didn't really shrink either. It just remained kind of the same size than what it was when I put the gummy bear in there. And I do think this is because I did not add enough salt to the solution in order to see that drastic change. So I do believe that in this experiment, I did have 2 errors. The first one was I did not allow the gummy bears to soak long enough. Mine, I think I only soaked them for about 4 to 5 hours instead of the 6 to 10. I do think that if you do leave them in for, let's say, 24 hours, you'll get your best result. But unfortunately, I did not do that. And then the second thing is I need to definitely add more salt into the solution that I did originally. I do think that I would have seen a greater observation than what I ended up seeing. I do think that it would be really cool if you add another solution to the experiment, like let's say take vinegar, for instance, to get 3 results instead of 2 and just see what happens. So hopefully in the future I'll get to do this experiment again, make those changes, and I'll get a better observation. I hope that you guys enjoy this course, enjoy this video, and y'all have a blessed day.